Okay, so when I was in my first hour playing this, I ended up taking a different path. I think I ended up taking the portal that we heard about from the zombie, well, the pretend zombie. So I'm in completely uncharted territory now. This should be fun. Probably don't want to talk to the Duskmen too much.
Watch, Chief. Just look natural. What's up?
Just look natural?
Right.
You're a floating skull head.
I'm gone.
You see a man in tattered clothing. As you approach him, he suddenly stops and begins to look around, frightened. Greetings. The man looks startled, then takes a step back. What you be wanting, Cutter? His voice is shaky, and he seems taken aback by your scars. I have nothing on me, so's I don't know. So's I don't. And my rags are not worth the trouble. Calm yourself. I'm not here to rob you. I have some questions. He keeps a safe distance, and his eyes dart from side to side, as if expecting something to step out of the shadows. Questions, you said? And, what might those questions be? Do you know someone named Farad? Name's not one I know, Cutter. Who's he? He's a collector, I think. He thinks. Well, then he most likely has his kip in Ragpicker Square, then. You might run to look there. During the day, that is. Not a nice place at night. Where is this Ragpicker Square located? It's a few blocks from here. Go west from the mortuary as far as you can go, and you'll run right into it. Careful when you're around there, though, Cutter. The collectors there don't always wait for a body to die before collecting on him, Got it, thanks. I'm missing a journal. Have you seen one, or do you know where I might find one? You're missing a what? He looks confused. No idea where you'd find such a thing, Cutter. Alright, farewell. I'm not sure I want too much more information yet. I don't know, that's probably the wrong way to go about it. I have a feeling there's going to be a fight eventually. Ah, Harlem, that makes more sense.
Done.
Ugh. Okay. What's this? Open tomb? Odd, why would there be hard to say. So not too much to see yet. Kind of annoyed that they're making me search everything out, but guess I should expect this. Angyar's house. I'm not sure I know who Angyar is, so I don't think that information helps me too much. Okay, what are you? Or who are you? You see a tall creature with a shock of white hair. Its skin is a greenish cast, and a pair of goat horns protrudes from its forehead. It is dressed in long flowing robes and appears to be floating slightly above the ground. Greetings. The creature's hair turns to face you, and a series of symbols appear around its head. The symbols have a slight glow about them, and they just hover there. Ah, for the power's sake. Piking Dabus. What's wrong? He's a Dabus. They speak in rebuses. They're these annoying word puzzles. If you don't know what he's saying, then we better find a native or some other way to communicate with him. If we want to. And an annoying bunch. I bet they can't speak. They would just rather piss everyone else off by trying to puzzle out what they're saying. What's with Dabus? Chant is their janitors from the Lady of Pain. They float around breaking, fixing, and patching up sigil according to her whims. They're worse than corpse flies. You can't sweat them, though, and the lady will get upset. Lady of Pain? Who's that? She runs this city. You'll know if you see her. She's got these blades around her face, she's about the size of a giant, and she floats off the ground just like these guys. Morty nods at the Dabus, who is looking at you both. Nobody knows much about her. She doesn't speak much. All you need to know is that you don't want to make her angry. If you see her, my advice, run. I see. The Dabus waits patiently, its hands tucked into its sleeves. A series of symbols materialize above its head. Then they vanish and a question mark appears. Let's see. You ask the Dabus several questions, trying to get a feel for the rebuses that appear above its head. It is extremely patient throughout your discussion, giving you easy sentences to translate. After a few minutes, you start to get the hang of it. It feels like you've done this before. Maybe you can help me. The Dabus waits. Who are you? The Dabus inclined its head slightly, and a stream of symbols appears above its head. I am a Dabus. What are you doing? I attend to my duties. Can you tell me about the Lady of Pain? A lone symbol appears above the Dabus's head. This one shows a metallic female mask with blades coming out of the sides. Just looking at the ghastly image makes you uncomfortable. I guess that's all I want to know. Interesting, so I get a little bit of experience from that. Peculiar.
Done.
Also, that one of those obnoxious symbols flashing up down here is getting annoying. I really need to check if it's doing anything. Well, I'll let it go for now. Worst comes to worst, I just... I don't know how easy it would be to edit. But I don't know, I guess it won't be too important. Worst comes to worst, I replay it. Oh, darn. I don't know, that might be tedious. Oh, Gathering Dust Bar.
I'm gone.
Okay, so... I assume that's a place where I can rest, right? Because I definitely need to, given how beat up I am. It seems like I have a small amount of health regeneration, but still, not something I necessarily want to rely on for everything. Where's this take us? Come on. Alley of Dangerous Angles? I have a feeling I don't want to be here. Greetings, stranger. Looks like you're in Dark Alley Shiv territory now. Looks like you've got a purse that could use some lightning. You better pray it's enough. I already paid this time, though. He looks off into the shadows, making a hand motion, and looks back at you. No, you didn't. You're gonna die. I'm probably too beat up to take these guys. I don't know. With that kind of damage, maybe not. I'll have to keep an eye on my damage, though. Keep going at this guy. He's the one we're focusing. It's Morty.
Looks like my skills have increased. Yeah, good as done. Good as done.
Huh. Looks like we managed to take him out.
Die.
Did you see that?
Huh. That actually worked out. Admittedly, Morty is about to die, but I'm actually kind of surprised we survived that. Just a quick save just in case there's any trouble. Take what we can. Might be able to find a place to sell all this. I presume since this is a CRPG, that's stuff I need to worry about, right? Hell, let's just get out of here before someone else shows up. Okay. Well, a Gathering Dust Bar would probably be the best place to look if I were trying to rest somewhere. Let's go check it out. Odd, though. I would have expected... Well, I remember running to the Alley of Dangerous Angles earlier. I guess... I don't know, maybe I'm in the same place? Huh, looks like I am, actually. Interesting. You see a spindle-thin dustman in dirty black robes. His stiff black hair springs forth from his skull like a crown of spikes, and his leper-white skin is drawn sharply across his skull. He is frowning into his drink and mumbling to himself. The dustman looks up, blinks once, then looks you up and down, studying you. As he studies you, he takes one of his spiked locks and points at himself with it. Norachi. Initiate. Dustman. Guard. You look troubled, Norachi. Norachi touches his face and traces the shape of his frown with his fingers. Troubled. Yes. What's wrong? The dustman looks you up and down. Many troubles have I. Help, can you? A mausoleum awakens, the dead walk, the dead disturbed, the dustmen disturbed. Find out what disturbs the undead, and copper coins will I pay. Very well. Where is this mausoleum?
Updated my journal.
Narach nods. Mausoleum by Dustman Memorial. Go north and west from Black Monument. Go to arch in a semicircle over your heart with this finger this makes. He wriggles the index finger on his right hand. To the mausoleum, go you will. I'll look into it then. Farewell. Alright, so I assume that's listed under quests? Yes. Mausoleum's Walking Dead. Well, that looks like it'll be fun. So who else is there that I can talk to? I know that there's one person in particular I remember having an interesting conversation with, so let's talk to everybody else first. Before you was a tall, silent figure. He could easily pass for a statue, although the deep furrows in his face and brow make you wonder if the sculptor was a little too eager in defining the face with a chisel. He looks well over 50 years old, but exactly how much over 50 is hard to tell. As he slowly turns to look at you, you catch the dull sheen of copper in his eyes. Greetings. Old Copper Eyes stares at you. His eyes are difficult to make out past the black well of his eye sockets, but they look to have a coppery sheen about them. Interesting. You look important. You see a heavy-set man with dark skin and grim features. He is dressed in dustman robes and is regarding you with a stony gaze. You have the look of one lost. The man's voice is like stone setting. Did the wind send you, or are you here with a purpose? Who are you? I am Emmerich, Factorum and Initiate of the Fourth Circle. Is this your bar? If you measure ownership in copper, this is not my establishment. If you measure ownership in spirit, it is mine. He pauses, as if trying to emphasize a point. The dustmen here are my students. They are under my protection. Can I ask you some questions? I am searching for a man named Farad. Have you seen him? I would know why you seek Collector Farad. He stole something from me. Emmerich remains silent. His gaze is unnerving. He doesn't seem to blink. Why do you want to know my business with Farad? The Collector Farad has brought many corpses to the mortuary of late. One must ask where these bodies are from. Perhaps I could find out where these bodies are from. How would you do such a thing? I would track down Farad and ask him. If you spoke with the Collector Farad and returned with his answers, you will have done a great service for the Dustmen. Find where the dead he brings to us are from, and you will be rewarded. Very well. I will find Farad, speak to him, and find out where these dead bodies he brings you are from. Your path is our path. Return here when you have the Collector Farad's answer. Can you tell me where he is? It is not known to me where the Collector Farad is. He hides from the eyes of the Dustmen. I would seek other collectors and ask them your question. Very well. Can you tell me about the Dustmen faction? Dustmen seek the true death. Some call it oblivion, but this is incorrect. To Dustmen, the true death is freedom from the chains of this false life. I've gone through the motions before, but I also see what he says. This life that many cling to with their emotions is a false existence. As long as one clings to it, they will continually be reborn into it. One must divest themselves of emotion to escape this cycle. I see. Can you tell me about how your faction is organized? Dustmen are organized into 5 circles. The 5th circle is made of the lowest rank of Dustmen, Initiates. The 1st circle is comprised of the highest ranking Dustmen, the ruling body of our faction. I'm not sure I really want to join the Dustmen, but perhaps because based on what the scribe said, my existence is an anathema to them. Well, not necessarily an anathema, but an abomination, perhaps. I've come here in search of a journal. These eyes have seen no journal. Perhaps your search will take you out elsewhere. Now, is there anything interesting in here?
All right.
Probably not.
I'm gone.
Didn't think so. Is there anyone else worth talking to? I don't believe I've talked to you yet. Yeah, I talked to that one. Alright, let's see what you have to say. This tiny wizened man is dwarfed by his huge dustman robes. They look as if they were chosen to cloak his small stature. Although he looks to be in his late 90s, this man is extremely energetic. He fidgets continuously, and his eyes dart around the bar like a bird's. Greetings. The man's eyes gleam as he takes your measure, and he gives a slight nod in greeting. Hail and well met, traveler. You look like one who is just getting their sigil legs about them. He trails off. Pardon me, have we met before? Your face seems familiar somehow. Possibly. Are you certain it was me? Maybe I was mistaken. Mortai shakes his head. Well, no matter, no matter. How is it that Mortai Gravesend may help you? Do you seek... He clucks his tongue as he speaks. The contract, perhaps? Contract? The contract. Why, it is but a simple transaction. From the depths of his huge robe, Mortai pulls forth a dusty parchment and a quill pen. I give you 50 commons. In return, after death, the Dustmen faction may claim your remains. He smiles, then clucks his tongue. What use will you have for them at that point anyway? What do the Dustmen do with the body? Mortai holds up his hand as if he doesn't know. What does it matter? It is of no consequence and you pass on. It matters to me. Well, if you must know, oftentimes nothing is done with the body, and it is we the Dustmen who have wasted all that money. More fools us. Mortai gives a light smile, then looks apologetic. But, rarely, there are times when the workers in the mortuary need to be replaced, and then we may have a need for your body. You mean I'll be animated as a corpse and put to work in the mortuary? That doesn't sound good. But no harm is done, no pain. Mortai raises a finger, as if to emphasize the point. And there is no danger. In exchange for money you can spend in this life, you merely have to give us something that you will have no need of anyway once you have died. Mortai taps his chest. I signed the contract myself, if you must know. I shall have no need of my body when I pass on. I'll consider it. For now, I have some other questions. Of course, Mortai nods. It would be my pleasure to answer any questions you may have. Can you tell me about some of the patrons here? Of course. Which of the patrons do you wish to know about? Can you tell me about Initiate Emmerich? A respected initiate of the Fourth Circle, a very wise man. Mortai studies you, slightly worried. What is your business with him, may I ask? Perhaps I can help with it instead. Well, I was thinking about signing a contract with Emmerich. Mortai looks visibly distressed. No, good sir. He will not offer half the price I will for such a contract if it would be a mere pittance compared to what I could give you. Consider this before you make a hasty decision. I'll think about it. I'm searching for a man named Pharaon. Have you seen him? Mortai frowns. He's one of those collectors, isn't he? I know little of him. I think Initiate Emmerich mentioned him in passing. Mortai glances around. Emmerich should be around here in the bar somewhere. He can usually be found in the far corner at the head table, I believe. Initiate Emmerich? A respected initiate. Okay, I've seen this. Let's see. Can you tell me about old Copper Eyes? Mortai's always go cold. The one with eyes of copper? His eyes speaks enough. I speak enough about his purpose here. He makes a big semicircle over his heart. A member of the Dustmen he may be, but I would never sign a dead contract with him. Copper is his soul, and to me that speaks of an excess of passion for money. He is a Dustman in name only. Are Dustmen not allowed to feel passions? Oh my, yes. Mortai frowns. Too much passion, too much emotion prevents one from reaching the true death. To be passionate runs contrary to the philosophy of our faction. Have you seen a journal recently? I'm missing mine. Mortai shakes his head. I know nothing about a journal. I deal with documentation of a much different sort. So you mentioned before. He has a strange expression on his face. Is there something wrong? Mortai frowns. Forgive me, I must ask again. Are you sure we haven't met before? Possibly. I do not recall you. Mortai shakes his head. Well, no matter. Yes, farewell. Something about that one. Okay, that flashing is getting annoying. I'm gonna check something real quick. Alright, so... I wonder if I'm allowed to talk to that zombie worker. Because it seems like he's the one that tends the bar. This female corpse is dressed in a heavy burlap shirt covered with food and wine stains. Her lips have been stitched closed, and her arms and legs are wrapped in several layers of bandages. The bandages seem to have been soaked in preservatives to keep the corpse fresh. As a result, the corpse's rotting odor has been replaced with an equally repulsive vinegar smell. Okay, I have to go through with this. Did you see the way that cadaverous beauty was staring at me? Morty's teeth chatter as if in anticipation. She was looking for some lucky cutter to thaw her coffin. Please don't start this again. Morty ignores you and becomes thoughtful. I don't really mind the attention, actually. It's just that I like to be seen as something more than just a skull, you know? I get feelings that go beyond my base animal instincts. I want courtship, not some fortnight fling around the mausoleum. All good options, all good options. I understand. Now let's get out of here, alright? Well, let's see what you have to say. I think this is the conversation I was interested in. As you approach, the elderly woman turns and stares at you. Ah, look who's come a-calling on Seer today. Death's dearest son. She looks you up and down, then shakes her head in disbelief. By every power and its mother, boy. What crypt did you crawl out of? I'm fresh from the mortuary, actually. That's so. Siri raises an eyebrow. Warms my ears to hear you gave that place the laugh, boy. Not much of a watering hole for one who isn't relieving themselves. Tch, too many cobwebs and dusty mimes. You don't like the mortuary? Aren't you a dustman? A dustman? I suppose. I've seen enough sand passing through the hourglass while wearing these robes. This body's almost ready to pay the ferryman. She chuckles, but there's not much mirth in it. Are you afraid of dying? Course I am, boy. Who isn't? She frowns and glances around. Well, except Dustman. They're not afraid because they've been swallowing so much of their own bat droppings over the decades they've blinded themselves into thinking that death is some kind of release. You don't sound much like a Dustman. She shrugs. I guess the Dustman robes don't fit me as well as they used to. What happened? Life, I suppose. Never you mind. I won't bore you with the niggling details. I'd like to know, actually. Oh, would you? She looks at you skeptically. How old do you take me for, Bolt? Old? Well, you're wrong. I'm really old. Now, I've spent most of my long years teaching dustmen. I've seen many dustmen whelps grow within our order, taught them the ways of the faction, kept the faith, preached the tenets of the faction, and so on and so on. No questions, no doubt. This life was merely an antechamber that led to the true death. What happened? Well, a half month back, I went sick with the fever. I thought it was the end. It rattled my cage. How? Her face becomes a stone. There's something about having your faction members circling around your deathbed like a pack of pale-faced ghouls, nodding and agreeing that your suffering and dying is all for the best. Oh, sir, it is so fortunate. She shall soon be relieved of the burden of life. Burden of life? That's when it struck me. That there's something. A queer expression comes over her face. Addled about not appreciating your life. That Dustman keeps saying that life is misery and suffering. Is it? That we should be happy to pass on into oblivion. Should we? She shakes her head. Questions, questions, and precious few answers. It doesn't sound like you believe in the Dustman philosophy anymore. I suppose I have got a swarm of doubts all buzzing in my skull. She rubs her temples. Hard to get them all to be quiet sometimes. They need to be fed some answers, and I haven't got them all worked out yet. What will you do? To be square, boy, I don't know. That's the problem with doubt. I can't even trust that what I'm feeling is true, or if I'm scared of death only because of my brush with the fever, or even what I should do. Is this a passing thing? I don't know. I think this is probably the reason why I found this conversation interesting, because this response... I'm not sure how I would answer this, though. I think that's... because I'm a religious person myself, I have my doubts as always, but I don't know. Maybe it's because this spoke to me on some level, because I have my doubts and it's hard sometimes, and it's hard to know whether it's just a matter of not following through with what I believe or something else. I don't know. I'm not sure if what I'm even saying is making any sense. I'm not sure. How would I answer this? Well, Well, okay. Think about how I would answer this. What would I say? Well, technically it is a test of her beliefs, but I guess I'm leaning towards this, so let's go with it. Maybe so. Maybe so. I'll have to chew it over some more. You should. It's no small matter. Now, enough of me rattling on about my woes. You look like you've shared a few handshakes with death yourself. Hasn't that changed your views somewhat? Doesn't it make you appreciate life a bit more? Well, my condition is unique. I woke up in the mortuary. I think they mistook me for a corpse and were prepared to bury me. The strange thing is, I think I actually had died, and got better. You're rattling my coffin. Not really. Strange are the ways of the plains, and I've seen too much to throw any tale out with the wash. If it's true, why does this happen? All I know is I woke up in the mortuary with no memory and covered with enough wounds to kill me 3 times over. Now, don't be saying that too loud. She glances around. Most peculiar. Never heard of anything like that. Shame about the memories. Do you have any idea why this happens? Nay, not a one. Never knew anyone who death wouldn't take. Until now. I wanted to ask you about some of the Dustmen in particular. No harm, but who's on your mind? Can you tell me about Mortai? Mortai? Ha! I thought you were going to ask about a Dustman. That's no Dustman. There's no Dustman who's less than Dustman than that jinx-smacking, bone-box-rattling lackwit! That is an insult. I need to write that down. What do you mean? Mortai's so anxious to impress his betters by getting the most dead contracts signed that I wonder if he'll ever be a Dustman. I don't understand. He's eager to get contracts signed, boy. He's concerned about his reputation. He's thinking of his career in the Dustmen. That alone says it all. Well, I think I know where it's getting, but I want to see how this goes. It's said that passions kill. For Dustmen, it's the opposite. Passions keep you alive, and if you can't strip yourself of passions, whether eagerness, greed, or ambition, then you're doomed to never truly die, because life will always hold a piece of you. Can you tell me about Emmerich? That stone-faced old fool. I taught him, and I used to hold the man in high regard. Then I woke up. He's a crusty old ghoul that sits here in his off hours to make sure the younger Dustmen have a symbol of authority here in this bar. Old vulture. Can you tell me about old Copper Eyes? Don't know much about that one. He's a strange blood. He never moves from that spot. Never eats, never drinks, just waits. Makes me uneasy. Actually, I met a scribe named Dahl at the mortuary. Do you know him? Dahl? He was my instructor in the philosophical arts during my early training at the mortuary, and a crusty old fool to boot. He's ill, so my ears tell me. I bet he'll even bore or death with his presence. Is he dying? Sicker than a spotted dog he is. Not much sand left in the hourglass for him. I met a guide at the mortuary, Soego. Do you know him? That boy used to be a regular around here. Don't know what happened to him. Could be. He was shaken up after his friend died. Explain. One of his friends was killed in the hive a few weeks ago, torn apart by rats. Ugh, messy business. Has Soego always been a guide at the mortuary? No, only for the past few months. And last I heard, he was just sent off for a missionary duty, and I don't know where. One of the embalmers in the mortuary, Aveen. Do you know her? Who? A strange young woman. Poor eyesight, near death, talents for hands. Maybe she's a new initiate. I've never heard of her. Very well. Seems like that's all I can talk about then. I'm searching for a man named Farod. Have you seen him? Also, I'm pretty sure my pronunciation of that changes every time I say it. That dog. He's the worst of the collector lot. I heard he had his kips set up somewhere in Ragpicker Square, many streets west of the mortuary gate. Dangerous place, though. Some of those collectors aren't patient enough to wait for folks to die so they can sell them for jink. I see. If you don't know what it looks like, how do you expect to find it? I'm beginning to wonder that myself. Indeed. Where can I rest then? Because I definitely need to heal up.
Done.
Maybe I can talk to a Dustman? Okay, so it looks like unless they're named the Dustmen aren't going to be very talkative, I suppose. Awaiting death? What's that mean? Before you was a young dustman with stubble on his chin and dark circles beneath his eye. He is staring at the wall with a somber expression. The dustman doesn't look up. He stares straight ahead, as if he is seeing something several leagues beyond the walls of the bar. Dustman doesn't respond. Keeps staring into the distance. Alrighty then. Morty hisses at you. Let's go, Chief. This dusty might as well be fertilizer. Fair enough. Let's get out of here. As you turn to leave, the dustman suddenly speaks, his voice barely a murmur. You have to strain to hear the words. You think he said something about wanting to die. What did you say? The boy's expression does not flicker. Do you want to die? No. Do you? Yes. He studies you. Why do you want to live? There are certain questions I need answered about my life before I'm willing to surrender it. I want to find out who I am. The dustman listens silently. After you speak, he does not respond, merely watches you. He looks like he is thinking. Do you want to die? Is that why you asked? Yes. Why do you want to die? This existence is a mockery of life. I do not wish to continue this charade any longer. His face wrinkles in disgust. Why would anyone wish to remain in this foul city in the center of a multiverse that feeds on pain and hatred? Death is silent, comforting. That's a bleak outlook. There's a lot more to life than pain and hatred. This is living? He bares his teeth and his hands clench. This existence is a mockery of life. I do not wish to continue this charade any longer. Death is silence. Comfort me. Then why haven't you killed yourself already? I have been looking for a means to end my life. Will you kill me? If you lack the conviction to kill yourself, I'm not going to do it for you. It is not a matter of conviction. Then it must be another matter then. So I ask you, what is it about living that drives you to hate it? Okay, we're going in circles. If you had truly wished to die, you would have found a means to do so already.